Namaste and grand day, grand rising to everyone, wherever you may be across the lovely and beautiful globe. Hello, people. This is Destiny. I am back with another video. This is a video that I have been working on. This particular topic. It's probably been about a month. This is a really deep, serious topic. It took me until now to bring this message in front of my viewers. And I want you guys to really listen. It's gonna be deep, but it's gonna be real. And if you really listen to this message, you can apply it to your life. And maybe you have been going through some of the very same things, or you have been in such situations. There may be some out there, maybe many out there, that are still in this type of situations. Well, my purpose for doing this video is to release you, to help you to free yourself, to help you to get out of that cage, get out of being boxed in by what other people are thinking, what other people say about you. We got to come to know who we are. We got to come to value ourselves. Yes, their criticism hurt. Their cruel remarks hurt. Their nitpicking, it hurts. But baby, I'm telling you, it does, because I witnessed it myself. And it's hard to sit there and tell you, okay, put on the tough skin. It's not easy to always put on the tough skin. It breaks you down bits and pieces at each time that you encounter upon such negative remarks toward you, such a bullying behavior toward you. It breaks you down. But I'm just saying, if you listen to the video and you take all of these pointers that I'm going to give to you today, I'm sure it will help you. And I said something that you just not expecting to jump out of right then and there. But you can, but you got to turn your whole entire self and the fight that you're fighting with this person or these people with over into the hands of the divine creator, because he said, I am here. I will fight for you. I will defend you. He said, I will war against your enemies. Let's jump into the video. Welcome again. This is your girl Destiny. My YouTube channel is DestinyForever Walks. Check me out on YouTube, people, and come in and watch this video message. And then after this message, you have watched in its entirety. It's going to be long. I'm letting you know now. So I'm not asking you to try to chew the whole meal all at one time. If you get full, you always can put it up and go back for the leftovers until you consume the whole entire meal. This is a message that you must hear. I'm going to teach today, and I'm going to go through it. I'm going to take my notes out, and I'm just going to go through this because this has to be said, and I want to get it to you. So I'm going to go ahead on and get into it. And the topic today is criticism should be acknowledged by one's permission. Someone, walk up to you and start bashing you or just cutting you down with critical remarks. I think, to me, okay, let a person ask you your permission. How am I doing this? Am I doing this right now? If that person asks you, then you should be in that place where you can receive those critical remarks that person is coming. But you don't come at a person and all you got to do is bash that person, disgrade that person, belittle that person, downsize that person, just beat them up, and you don't let them talk, express themselves, express their feelings, their emotions, what they're feeling at the moment of being whooped by those cruel and negative remarks. Let a person ask for your permission. Let them give you your permission if they really want to have a critical remark made. And then we have to do those critical remarks, my people, in a way that they are going to be uplifting. And they're going to be not destructive, my people, but constructive. And I'm going to tell you the difference between destructive criticism versus constructive criticism. So I'm going to read. My head is going to be done a lot. You've seen the beautiful face long enough. You know what I look like. But I want to look down on these notes today, so apologize for that. But this message is more important than you're looking at me. I want you to hear the words. Open your heart intentionally opening up your ears and your heart, and I want you to hear what Destiny has to say. Diving deep into this message now. If someone says that you are a critic, then most likely you are. What is criticism? Criticism is the expression of disapproval of something or someone. And I'm going to repeat again. What is criticism? Criticism is the expression of disapproval of someone or something based on perceived faults or mistakes. Criticism is also judgment and fault finding. Criticism is a universal, but it's a painful experience. It's one that a lot of people sure don't deserve. If you can't lift up someone with your positive words, if you can't say something positive to help someone to feel great about themselves or do it in a constructive manner when you put out a criticism, then I best just to shut your mouth. People get too much of negative remarks. You can do it in a very constructive way. Like I said, let that person ask for permission. And then you listen and hear what that person is saying, because they're ready to receive what critical remarks that you may have, but not when you come bashing at them or nitpicking or bullying, but it really falls in that category. But listen, criticism is a universal, and it is a painful experience. Being criticized, it may trigger fear, shame, anger, and it feeds into your insecurities about being unworthy or even being incompetent or not being good enough. So my people, listen to Destiny. Let's talk today. Let's have a real talk. Let's talk about emotional and verbal abuse. And I'm sure many of us has experienced one or the other, and I'm sure a lot of us probably experienced both in our lives, somewhere in our lives. So, we're going to talk about emotional and verbal abuse, which criticism is, and the differences between destructive criticism and constructive criticism. But first, I'm going to ask you to do this. Examine yourself and your space in it. Just examine yourself and go back and allow your mind to just reflect back and past where there was hurt, pain, frustration, whatever that went on. Examine yourself to see if criticism is in your space at the present moment, or it has been in your space at some point. Because it has been in your place at some point and you have not dealt with that person, it's going to come back around, and it keeps coming back around like a boomerang. You throw it out, it comes back to you. So do me a favor, examine yourself to see if criticism is in your space. I always like to ask questions, because questions always help you to go deep inside and just examine yourself, okay? Are you around someone who is constantly telling you what you are doing wrong and what you should be doing? It can be a real source of negativity, as it can cause you to feel bad about yourself, and it can cause you to question your decisions. Even a person with a high confidence can find themselves negatively impacted if they are constantly barraged by someone else's verbal abuse. The person who is constantly doing all the criticism or the criticizing, they might tell you that they are saying what they are saying for the sake of of helping you. When they are really going about it in the wrong way, a very hurtful way, a very painful way. And they are not consciously aware a lot of times. They just throw it out there. They're not taking your feelings they're not taking your feelings into their mind, as this may be something that could be breaking them down or destroying their self-esteem. So, as I said, the person who is constantly doing all the criticizing might tell you that they are saying what they are saying for the sake of helping you. And as I said, when they really are going about it in the wrong way. And that is why, my people out there today, I am going to go over the differences between destructive criticism and constructive criticism. That is a vital difference, a very vital difference. And I'm going to give you all both understanding of that later in the video. And I'm going to give you this destructive criticism and constructive criticism, because this way it should help you to identify what destructive criticism is, what constructive criticism is. And then you can become aware of it and not personalize so much the person's words that's constantly coming at you. Then you people, you need to have a heart-to-heart talk with the other person or other people that is bringing destructive criticism, so that you can create some boundaries, set up some boundaries. Hey, you can't come but so far here, or you got to turn around and go back. You got to set boundaries because you have to protect yourself. You got to protect your emotional state, your physical state, your mental state. You got to protect you. So you have to set these boundaries so they can know they only can come but so far. Create some boundaries. I say this because destructive criticism can become a source of stress. It can become a source of anger and a source of hurt. But the main difference between constructive criticism and destructive criticism is that, or it is the way that the comments are formulated. That is so important. The way that the comments are formulated, how they are bouncing off what they're saying to you, in what tone, and what is their actions at throwing it out at you. So listen how the comments are formulated. There is always an appropriate way of saying something. If you can't know how to say it appropriately, say nothing at all. The tone of destructive criticism can be negative, it can be so mean, and it can be angry, frustrating, bitter, cold, hurtful, painful. I can go on for days. I've been on that end, my people. I've been on that end of the spectrum. Excuse me. And it can make you feel as though the person is just pointing out what is wrong with you, and they never can see nothing right in you. It's always the bad. They want to pull out the bad. I don't care how many wonderful good things, how many powerful, smart, wise things that you display. They never see those. They bounce over them. They jump over them right into something they feel like, hey, it's negative. It's not good. If you're out there being through this, you know what I'm saying. But they always pointing out the wrong in you, as though they are just blaming you, like they got a nitpick with you. They got a thing with you. They got a war with you. I don't know what it is, but that's how they are. They're so brutal and they so loud. They constantly throwing words at like 100 miles an hour. You never can get into the circle. You never get into the conversation because they're constantly shutting you out. And my people, as though when they are doing this, it's like they are blaming you. everything's your fault. Everything is your fault. You don't know how to do this right. You're not doing that right. You just don't. You just it's just one of those things. So my people, if you hear it enough, all this negative, this destructive criticism, if you hear it enough and experience it with plenty of intensity, then it might even feel as though you are being bullied. And I'm telling you, to me, I say they are really on the other side, another type of way of bullying people. It's cruel, but you can't tell it to them because they always right. And they won't allow you to be able to express your feelings or to express your opinions or even to, to stand up for yourself. They always constantly cutting you down and they get loud and harsh and they just get all out of control. And then their emotions just go all over the place. But they're really bullying you. But now there's also this verbal abuse as well, and that's painful too. People just constantly verbally abusing you with words that's a negative. But the difference is, my people, between destructive criticism and constructive criticism, on the other hand, listen, constructive criticism. We just talked about destructive criticism. Now we're going to talk about constructive criticism. That is just feedback without the imposing tone, with all those emotions and negative remarks coming at you, that bashing, that nitpicking, that jumping at you with this anger and frustration, and they throwing it at you and they blaming you. Well, constructive criticism does not come with all of that. It does not come with the imposing tone. Constructive criticism is somebody saying something like this, and listen, hey, maybe you should try blank instead of doing blank. Fill it in. But that's how it should be. Asking permission, giving permission. So that's how they would say, maybe you should try blank instead of doing blank, because I think that will really work for you. So now notice that in my example there I just gave you, there is no negative tone, there is no nitpicking, there is no imposing attitude. It's putting out concrete criticism, and it's helping you to be able to see things on a more even level so you can see it on both sides. Another big difference between destructive criticism and constructive criticism, that it resides in the attention of the person offering it. Unlike constructive criticism, that is intended for helping you improve some part of your life. And that's what, like I said, that's what constructive criticism is. But destructive criticism, it resides in the attention of the person offering it. And say, okay, but you're offering it, but what are you expecting from me? Why are you, and what are your motives behind what you're doing or saying what you're saying, but you're not lifting me up. You're bashing me. You're pulling me down to a place of hurt and pain, a place that makes me feel like I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I can't never do anything right. But constructive criticism is intended for helping you improve some part of your life in the most positive way, to help you to pull yourself up, to see your success, your abilities, your talents. It helps you to see, even though it helps you to see things when they're not where they need to be, if it needs work done, but you can see it in a more positive light. Destructive criticism might hide other intentions, such as a desire to manipulate, feelings of envy, the desire to be hurtful consciously or subconsciously, or a person not being happy with their own performance in life. So what they do is they project their unhappiness on you, as I said, by nitpicking. They said misery loves company, my people. I'm telling you. Sometimes the person constantly criticizing you does it because it's a bad habit that they have. And a lot of times when they do destructive criticism, and like I said, it's a bad habit because most of the time I'm telling you it's something they don't like about themselves. Something they see in you that they don't like. Something they see great in you. They see your best. They see your power. They see your strength. And they envy that. And they want to be like that. So instead of them boasting you or encouraging you or telling you how great you are at doing such things, they're nitpick. Because they wish they could be more like you. So my people, listen again. Destructive criticism might hide other intentions such as a desire to manipulate, feelings of envy, the desire to be hurtful consciously or subconsciously, or a person not being happy with their own performance. Not being happy with their own performance in life, so they project their unhappiness on you, as I said, by nitpicking. And sometimes the person constantly criticizing you does it because it's a bad habit that they have. And it's something that comes practically, instinctively to them. It's just something just easy because this is all they ever practice. For all you know, that person may have had a highly critical upbringing in life. And they are so used to that kind of behavior that now that's all they know how to do. And they say subconsciously, it just comes out. So my people, listen. This person may be used to that kind of behavior that now they see themselves as no other way but just doing that, and they have become pros at doing it. And the last big difference to consider is if the person or people who are criticizing you are constantly referencing to the past, there's something you need to go back and check. What have I done to this person in the past? Why are they not letting the past go? Haven't we put this out there so we can bring closure to it, so we can talk about it, put these things in the proper place so we can move forward? Well, apparently the person criticized them, they have not put these things in the proper place. They have not let go of it, or they have not agreed, but they may have said so, but they still carrying on baggage and hurt, and they are still now allowing the past to come and bring back all those things to hurt you all over again. When providing constructive criticism, the past is mentioned only as a starting point to learn a lesson and make a better decision in the future. When providing destructive criticism, the past is constantly thrown at you with comments that might start with words like this: you always blink, or you never blink. You can feel it in. You put those things in, you know that it has really targeted you, that has hit you, has hurt you. You fill in the blanks, okay? The person might be keen on bringing up things that happened in the past because they are hell-bent on proving a point for something that they themselves are not complete with, something that they just cannot find closure with, something they just not ready to let go of. They got a point to make. So they are still bringing up the past, and past hurts, and they won't let go. But we got to learn to let go of things that no longer serve us. Criticizing, nitpicking, and all that, and bullying, it doesn't serve us any purpose. So why don't we just let it go? Just let it go. So, constructive criticism, on the other hand, is logical, well structured, and is supported by facts. It is related to actions and results, but not directly tied to you. And it's not tied to who you are. So when they throw all these things at you, say, that's not me. That's not me. And we don't have to agree with their arguments, their negativity. We don't have to agree with their criticizing, their nitpicking. You just say, it's not me. I know it's hurting, but don't let them see you hurt. Don't let them see you sweat. Just try to pull yourself up and just keep it going in a direction totally away from them. So my people, listen. It doesn't leave you feeling as though it doesn't leave you feeling all good or happy about yourself. But my people, it will leave you feeling like somebody has just ripped you apart, has pulled out your heart, has pulled out your credibility, has pulled out your gifts, your talents. This has drained you and left you depleted to a lifeless nothing. So you keep in mind these differences, and you'll be able to see criticism in general from a completely different point of view. And if you are somebody who has endured a lot of destructive criticism, just remember that it's never really been about you. It's not about you. Even though they're trying to make it like it's all your fault, it's all about you. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You don't have a plan how to do this. You ain't got nothing. You don't have anything that's going up higher. Everything you're doing is just going to be on the low key. It's not about you. It's about them. It's about how they see themselves, how they see their negative side of their life. It's not about you. You just got to remember that's never been about you. So get off the hook. Get off the hook. You are not the bait. Get off the hook. Don't bite the bait anymore. Instead, begin to establish those barriers. Distance yourself. Establish those barriers. And if needed, like I said, distance yourself. Sometimes you just have to walk away. Just get away from. Sometimes you just have to walk away. Sometimes you got to put a guard over your lips and say nothing else. And I said, run away. Run. Sometimes you just, walking is not quick enough to get away from them. Run. Get away from them. And this is all for your well-being. So I'm going to go through this quickly right here because I'm almost finished. But I'm wanting you to see some examples of criticism versus feedback. And we want feedback. We want feedback in the most positive way. I don't care if I'm not doing this right. I'm not saying this right. I'm not doing that. Then give me some constructive criticism, some positive feedback, and show me how to do it. So here are some examples of the two, criticism and feedback. And I'm going to run through these quickly. Critical people often delude themselves into thinking that they merely give others helpful feedback. So here are some ways to tell the two apart. Listen, you got to learn the two difference between criticism and feedback. But many times, my people, we find their criticism more hurtful than helpful. Here are some examples. Criticism. Focus on what's wrong. Why can't you pay attention to the bills? This is feedback. Focus on how to improve. Let's go over the bills together. Criticism. It implies the worst about the other's personality. You're stubborn. You're lazy. Feedback. It's about behavior, not personality. Can we start by sorting the bills out according to the due dates? Criticism. It devalues. I guess you're just not smart enough. You're not good enough to do this. Feedback. It always encourages and uplifts you. I know you have a lot on your plate, but I'm pretty sure we can do this together. Criticism. It implies blame. It's your fault that we're in this financial mess. Feedback. Focus on the future. We can get out of this mess if we both give up a few things. What do you think about that? Criticism. Attempts to control. I know what's best. I'm smarter. I'm better. I'm better educated. Feedback. It respects your autonomy. It respects the person. I respect your right to make that choice, even though I don't agree with you. Criticism is cohesive. Criticism is coercive. You're going to do what I want, or else I will do this. I won't connect with you. I'm going to punish you in some way. That's criticism. But feedback is not coercive. Feedback is, I know we can find a solution that works for the both of us. And that's it. Know the two. Know the difference between criticism and feedback. Criticism never lifts you up. Criticism never puts you on that place or that platform to you to move and grow to your higher self. So I am almost out of here, my people. I just didn't want to make sure I was checking the time. I just want you to get this. And I'm closing on this. But if you're angry or resentful, however, any feedback you offer will be heard as criticism, no matter how you put it. Listen, if you're angry or resentful, however, any feedback you offer will be heard as criticism, no matter how you put it. That's because people respond to emotional tone, not intention. So it's best to regulate your anger or resentment before you try to give feedback. Sit back and compose yourself. Sit back and just empty your mind of all those hurtful, negative things they said and breathe. And then allow yourself to speak positively to that person. To give feedback from your core value, focus on how to improve. Focus on the behavior you would like to see, not on the personality of your partner or child. Encourage change in that person instead of undermining confidence. Sincerely offer help. Respect his or her autonomy. Resist the urge to punish or withdraw affection if she or if he doesn't do what you want in the way that you may want it done. I'm closing. Criticism is your relationship with. Let me say it because I want you to get this. This is the important part. Criticism is your relationship. What smoking is to your health. Criticism is to your relationship what smoking is to your health. If you're a critical person, you must absolutely get a handle on your impulse to criticize before it runs your relationship. I said it, I got it out. That is the key thing I want you to get. Criticism is to your relationship what smoking is to your health. If you're a critical person, you must absolutely get a handle on your impulse to criticize before it runs your relationship. And if you don't, I don't care how close a relationship, how deep and tied your families are, it's gonna kill that relationship. People can't deal with that all the time, constantly, day in, day out. I know I can't. I choose not to do it. That's not me. That's not the creator who created me to be, nor has he created for you to live that type of life. Be positive. If you must criticize, do it in a constructive manner and do it with love, but show a person by giving them positive feedbacks. Even though things may be on the lower level or negative way, help lift them up. Namaste. Guys, I'm going to see you in the next video. I am done. Bye. Finish that video. I didn't know I was going to get through it. Namaste.